Hi everyone, are you ready for story time? Tommy picked out a great book for us to read. It is called Are We There Yet? By T. Alpert. We've got a family going on. We have a mom, a dad, a brother, and a sister. Let's see where they go. Jenny and Jimmy were twins and they were excited. They'd just completed kindergarten, and because they did so well, we're going to the big zoo in the city. After they got into the family car's back seat, Mom checked their seatbelts and Dad said, "If everyone is ready, let the journey begin." They were off and headed to the big zoo in the city. The big zoo in the city was a long way from home. It wasn't long before Jenny and Jimmy were bored. They were so excited and just wanted to see the animals, even get some peanuts, popcorn, and soda, but it was taking so long. "Are we there yet?" asked Jimmy. "No," his mom replied. "It will be a little while. Why don't you and Jenny look out the window and count pine trees?" Jimmy looked at Jenny and then tried to look out the window, but they were too low in the seat to see anything. Jenny grumbled, "Dad, we can't see out the window. Are we there yet?" "Yeah, are we there yet?" Jimmy sang out. "We are getting close," Mom chimed in. "Why don't you both sing a song? That will pass the time." "Okay," Jenny said. Then she leaned over to Jimmy and whispered something in his ear. They both smiled and giggled a little as they faced the front of the car and began to sing. "Are we there yet? Are 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 we there yet?" Their dad looked at their mom and said softly, "I don't know about you, but I'm glad we're here." Then, in a deep voice, he sang out, "We have arrived." Jenny and Jimmy giggled. Jimmy and Jenny had such a fun day. They visited every animal, had fun in the petting zoo, and ate hot dogs, popcorn, and peanuts. Soon it was time to leave. Mom got their seatbelts on and they were headed home. Did you guys like that book? Awesome. Did you guys like have you guys ever been to the zoo? Yeah? You like the zoo? Now I have a video of reading strategies for reading aloud to 4-year-olds that I have, and I'm going to play that.
Now I'd like to walk you through a few of the read-aloud strategies that I used in sharing this story. You'll notice that when I introduced the book, I took a moment to reflect on the title and the cover illustrations, pointing out to the children the facial expressions on the family. I also gave the children a reason to listen to the story, to find out what had gotten them so upset. It's very important when reading stories to young children that we use our voice and facial expressions to engage them and keep their interest. As teachers, we really want to bring these stories and their characters to life in the classroom. As you're reading, there's many strategies you can use to draw children's attention to different literary concepts. For instance, when I highlighted the rhyming words rub-a-dub-tub, or when I came across the word on when I got to it in the text, I knew that the children in my classroom would recognize this word from our classroom environment. It's always a good idea to read a story to yourself before sharing it with the children in your class. This allows you time to reflect on different vocabulary and concepts in the book that may be unfamiliar to the children in your classroom. For instance, in this story, they talk about some of the clothes being delicate. Well, the children in my classroom might not be familiar with that term. So it's important that I take a moment to pause and define that term for them and clarify their understanding. Reading a story ahead of time also lets you think about what social emotional behaviors or themes that you would like to discuss with the children. I really liked in this story how the dad had a job that he didn't really enjoy doing, but he did anyway because it helped the family. This allows for a great discussion with the children to ask them about a job that they have that they don't enjoy, but that they still do because it helps the family. Having discussions like these allow children to make real-life connections with what's happening in the story. I also like to use these sticky notes at times to highlight for myself as the teacher where there's a page that I would want to define a particular vocabulary word or ask the children a question. You can also use strategies like running your finger along the text or highlighting different things in the illustrations to draw children's attention to your reading. I always think it's a wonderful idea to ask the children a question at the end of the story. What do you think is going to happen next? This allows children to extend their understanding of the characters in the story beyond what's included in the book. It's also always a wonderful idea to, if you can provide a hands-on experience for the children as a follow-up to the read aloud. For instance, in this story, providing children the powder soap and the liquid soap that the boy used in the story allows them to make real-life connections with what they've just heard in the story. Using read-aloud strategies like these allow you to introduce all kinds of exciting stories in your classroom, even those with more complex storylines and vocabulary. I really hope that you'll find these read-aloud strategies helpful while you continue to provide meaningful learning experiences for the children in your classroom.
Okay, everyone, after we finished our book, what was your favorite part? Do you guys have favorite animals that you visit when you go to the zoo? Who do you guys usually go to the zoo with? What do you guys think is going to happen with Jenny and Jimmy after the zoo? Do you think they'll go to the zoo again? What animals do you think they saw at the zoo? Do you guys have some fun tricks when you are riding in the car? When it's a long car ride that you do to pass the time? Anything you do with your family? I chose this book for 4-year-olds because 4-year-olds are need something to pique their interest, so I wanted to get a book with a colorful illustration. I also wanted something more simple but not too complex, but starting to use complex sentences because at 4 years old they're starting to use complex sentences. Also at 4 years old they're starting to have a concept of time and space, so they're understanding how long car ride would be. How can they have probably been on a long car ride, so understanding that. Also, they have probably been to the zoo before, so they might be able to imagine going there, seeing all the animals. They're able to picture that. At this age, they have a vivid imagination. They can imagine seeing all the animals, what all the animals are doing. Yeah. And if their classmates suggest animals, they also can use their imagination to picture that. Yep. That's why I chose that book, because it was still simple but using complex sentences and colorful illustrations to pique their interest. Also, choosing this book, if they have never been to the zoo before, it'd be a great topic to talk about all the different animals, what animals do, what sounds they make, and just keep introducing vocabulary, because at this point they have about a 1,500 word vocabulary, and it's important to keep introducing words, which is why reading is so important, because reading helps introduce all these new vocabulary. It helps with sentence structure, them starting to form. It also helps with them being prepared to learn in kindergarten. It gets them ready in these preschool years. They're getting ready for kindergarten. They're able to learn easier and make that transition easier if they're doing more reading. Also, when I was reading this book to them, at the end I was allowing them to give their opinions, share about what they thought about the book, share what animals they've seen at the zoo. because it's very important to allow at this age. A tip for parents and a tip for caregivers is to allow them to try new words, try new activities, really let them be more independent, allow them to have some independence because they're in this stage based on Erickson's theory of initiative versus guilt. So it's important for teachers, preschool teachers, parents, caregivers to create this space where they are able to feel safe to try new activities, try new words without feeling guilty, because that guilt can shut them down. So we need to provide this space where they are able to try new things, try new words, talk about different animals, that kind of stuff. So they have that safe space to do that. So they can continue developing their language, their emotional, all of that, their cognitive, that kind of stuff.